Morning, everyone. Okay.
Morning, John boy.
Excellent. Good to see you all today. You've got me laughing already. So look, this is the first sensory walk of our new project on climate change, which we've been funded by Let's Get Connected. And we're out here today in the Roding Valley, next to Grange Farm, where we're based. And with me today, I've got Mika, who is from,
Hello.
I'll let you speak.
I'm from Find Your Active West Essex. We promote people to be active, and it's an incentive from Active Essex. So everybody is encouraged to get out and find an activity regardless of your ability. It's all inclusiveness.
Brilliant. And today we're going to go around, we're going to be collecting leaves so we can do a sort of leaf project, part of our climate project. We'll be doing that next week. So we'll collect the stuff today, so anybody finds any interesting shaped leaves, put them in the bag that we've got with us. And also I'll be telling you a few things about trees and plants and so on. First of all, Ian, why is climate important to us?
Save the planet.
And why do we need to save the planet?
Because it's got too much plastic on it.
Too much plastic, and what's the other thing? What's the other big problem?
Pollution.
Pollution, yeah. And what is the gas that's being given off?
Carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide, but carbon dioxide, CO2s. It's polluting the atmosphere. And what's happening because of that? Anybody know what's happening because of CO2s?
Ozone layer.
Someone said ozone layer.
The ozone layer, yeah, that's depleting itself. But on top of that, what is that gas? What's the big thing that's happening to the world?
People dying.
The temperatures.
It's hotter.
It's getting hotter, yeah. And because it's getting hotter and global temperatures are going up, that's going to cause, what sort of problems do we have?
Weather.
Changing the weather. We've seen wildfires all over the world, floods and destruction. So lots of Ian's destruction. So we're having a lot of problems with climate. And what can we do about it? How can we make a change?
We can recycle.
We can recycle a lot more, yeah? Any other things we think of?
Plant trees.
Planting trees, well done Conroy. Exactly, and we've been doing that, haven't we? We've planted a few trees up at Grange Farm. And Ray was out there yesterday planting more trees. He doesn't stop. He carries on relentlessly. So, yeah, lots of good things happening in that way. And if we all do a little bit, a bit of recycling,
Yes.
eating proper foods, growing our own vegetables, and generally looking after the environment, then things will get better with that. That's all we can do at the moment. One of the important things about this nature reserve is just the part of the Roding Valley. It goes for 3 miles. We're not going to do 3 miles today. We're just going to go around the loop. But it contains lots of lovely trees, different species of trees, wildflowers, animals, and so on. So all important things. So nature reserves are very important to us. And in Epping, we have over a dozen nature reserves in the district, all doing their little bit. This one is one of the biggest ones. And there's the meadows and stuff like with the buttercups and things.
Yeah.
This is called Chigwell Hedges. And talking of hedges, we're surrounded by hedges all the way along. Why are they important? Anybody know?
Wildlife.
Wildlife,
It is
perfect.
wildlife.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wind.
Lots
And for the animals.
wind.
Wind.
Yeah, they stop.
Racing.
They act as a wind barrier.
Farms have now, don't they?
Yeah.
To have them.
Well, back in the 60s, they chopped down lots of hedges to make the fields bigger for
Yeah.
harvesting. And of course, a lot of the wind came along and blew the topsoil off.
Yeah.
So it did a lot of damage. And also, what was the most important thing was the wildlife
Yeah.
that lives in the hedges.
Yeah.
Our bird population dropped drastically because they nest in the hedges and so
Yeah.
on. And of course, lots of other little animals live in there, hedgehogs, and,
Yeah.
you know, all
And
sorts
they
of little
hide away
insects.
from us as
Rats,
well.
rats,
Yeah.
rats.
It's a protection area, isn't it?
Yeah.
So hedges are vital to our countryside. And they're really interesting, aren't they?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Good one for a photograph.
There you go.
Lots in your bag, Kelly.
Yeah.
All right. Look, you need to see this.
Are they berries?
Berries.
See that?
What I like.
I think these are the gall insects, the little wasps that come out. They bury their eggs into the leaf, and then they gradually get hard and they become quite big. And then from that, the little wasp will come out later in the season. You see what's happening here? Is that they've come along and they've sort of dug up this patch of land here. And the objective of that, I guess, I don't know for certain, but is to loosen up the soil so that seeds can take place with wildflowers and so on. And so this will become a nice area growing wildflowers and so on. When they loosen the soil, you'll often see poppies pop up and things like that.
Is that why they call them poppies, John? Because they just pop up.
They just pop up. Very good, Linda.
Very good.
I like that.
Yeah.
All these wild plants growing up here, these wildflowers, weeds, what we call them weeds, I suppose, but they're not really. They're growing up off rough land that they've scoured previously. So they've cleared this area, roughened it up, like the patch over there that we just looked at. And this lot is all growing. It's, you know, there's loads of different plants coming up here. Okay, we're in a little patch of woodland. Anybody know what the name of the trees are? They're all the same, you know. Oaks, yeah, that's right. And they haven't been planted that long because they're still quite young. But does anybody remember how you work out the age of a tree, apart from cutting it down and counting the rings? Anybody know?
Oh no, it's a horse, isn't it? The horse.
No. Okay. Well,
You
look.
could put a horse against it.
If you put a measuring tape round a tree, and it's a meter, let's say it's 1 meter.
Yeah.
For every meter is 70 years,
Wow.
approximately.
70 years.
So if you've got a tree that's 3 meters, how much is 3 meters? 70 times 3. Anybody work that out?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
210 years old.
John, is that your age?
Yeah. You are cheeky, Ian. But I like your question. If you go to Epping Forest, some of the trees there, some of the oaks, are 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
So they've been there, you know, 1,000 years ago. What was happening 1,000 years ago? We don't really know, do we?
Yeah.
But you know, Henry VIII was 500 years ago.
Okay.
So, therefore, lots of history. So a big oak tree's seen a lot of history.
John, were these planted, these trees? Or
Yeah, they
just
were planted.
planted it
Yeah.
intentionally to be here?
These have been planted, yeah, they're not just turned up. Because it probably was an open area,
Yeah.
meadowland, and they've kind of gone and thought, well, we'll have some more trees there
Yeah.
and make a little mini woodland. That's why they're all one oaks.
They're all oaks.
Otherwise, there'd be a whole mixture of trees here.
Yeah.
And of course, in the old days, what were oak trees used for? All timber, really, when they cut timber from the forests and so on. Anybody know what they were using the timber for?
Boat.
Shipbuilding, yeah.
Boat building.
Boat building,
Yeah.
Furniture.
furniture. Anything else?
Wood.
One of the most obvious things.
Houses.
Wood. Houses,
Houses
yeah.
were made of
Houses.
wood, weren't they?
Houses.
Yeah. And what's the most basic thing you would use wood for?
Fire.
Fire, yeah. People burn fire with wood. didn't they?
No,
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. And this one's looking pretty much gone. Any idea why that might be here? No? Well, look, they've sown these trees in here, or planted them rather, And they're all quite close together, aren't they? And I think what is happening is there's no sunlight for this tree. I mean, the trees tend to go up and seek light. Why do they need light?
Grow.
To grow, yeah. Because what happens when the leaves come out, what do they make? It's called photosynthesis. The green leaves absorb sunlight, create energy to feed the tree. And when they, in the autumn, when they go brown and they drop off, they're basically dropping all the waste matter onto the ground and refurbishing the soil, basically. Making new soil for the trees to grow again, or plants or whatever's underneath the trees. But because of lack of light, some trees will die, and certainly you can't see any plants growing in there, or it's all fairly barren because the trees are so close together. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Leave it with me.
Yeah, leave it. We've got the hard path for the wheelchair access and so on, which is really good. Otherwise we couldn't come out here with wheelchair people. But they've mown the grass about 1 metre wide on either side of this, right? But they've left the main meadow to grow wild, which is brilliant because, you know, we're getting all the wildflowers, the brambles are coming up, everything's coming up. I'm not sure what this one's called, I can't remember. But, you know, in amongst all this, you've got loads of vegetation and wildlife, which is great for the insects, the birds, and the little wild animals for shelter and so on. This is they've cut down some trees and left the wood here, which is great because it makes a really good habitat for insects, little animals, mice, whatever. I mean, already a lot of little spiders ran across when I came here. So it's a lovely little habitat, great for the nature reserve. Okay, in the reserve here we've got the little mini orchard, which is fantastic because it's starting to grow now. It was planted a few years ago, and we've got a mixture of trees. You can see on this plaque, we've got plums, pears, apples, the medlar. Medlar is that one there with the white blossom on it, and it's actually an ancient tree that the Romans used to have. So it's a very old tree species. Yeah, there'll be a nice set of fruit on those trees come the autumn. We've just about come to the end of the walk now. Oh, have you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, good. And Emma, you enjoy it?
Great information, John, regarding everything. It's very good.
Oh,
Helps a lot. No, very good.
thank you, Linda. Yeah.
Very good.
Well, it's been a really nice walk. We haven't had much sunlight, but we haven't had any sunlight, have we?
No.
It's all been cloudy. But it's been enjoyable. We've had great fun. So thank you all very much for coming along today.
No, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.